Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 888. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Remember, we don't like Tuesdays. Hopefully today's a good Tuesday. I took the advice, and I apologize. I don't remember who suggested it in the chat yesterday, but yesterday I did my mug. And it was so damn hot, I couldn't drink the damn coffee. Someone in the chat suggested, because this always goes cold, somebody suggested, why not have a cup you can drink, and on the side you have your coffee that's scalding hot. By the time you're finished with your cup, it won't be scalding hot. So thank you for that advice. I'm taking it today. So here we go. First cup. Tasty, good coffee. Dunkin' coffee today. Dunkin', that I get like those giant containers from Costco. Happy Tuesday. I've got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about Series 2. Pre-order went live on Topps.com yesterday, so I want to share my thoughts, why I didn't buy any. There was some news came out yesterday that I'm not going to talk about. If you came here looking for news about Fanatics buying PWCC, not going to talk about it. I have no opinion whatsoever. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. I hate content where it's like, this is what Fanatics should do, because they're not. I don't want this make-believe what you, and I say you as just generally speaking, whoever's sharing their opinion. I don't care what you want, but I do care what they might do. So I that's an immediate turnoff for me. And Fanatics buying PWCC, don't care. Don't care either way. In fact, I do care about how Fanatics is running the baseball card stuff. So far, I like it better than how it used to be run. The distribution, and this does go hand in hand with my topic today, with Top Series 2 pre-order on Topps.com. Love it. Love it. You may not like the prices. That's why I didn't buy. I'm like, I might buy a couple jumbo boxes. $200, pass. But guess what? Doesn't bother me. I'll just go to Target and buy a couple blaster boxes. That's one thing that annoys me. This is going to be my soapbox today. That's one thing that annoys me, is people see that price tag. I'm priced out of the hobby. No, you're not. Stop being a crybaby. You're not priced out of the hobby. I'm priced out of the hobby. Boxes are too expensive. Shut up. Shut the hell up. Go dig through a quarter box. Go buy a freaking $20 blaster box. I'm sorry. They might be $25. Did that $5 bill price you out of the hobby? Stop crying about being priced out of the hobby. People have been crying about that for 40 years. Go back and look at old baseball card magazines, old Beckett magazines. Guess what people were saying in 1988? I'm priced out of the hobby. God, there's too many sets. There's 5 sets now. It's going to cost me $100 to buy all of them. Shut up. Stop crying. You're not priced out of the hobby. You're just a little whiny bitch. That's what you are. Okay, that's my soapbox. Maybe I went too far. You're not whiny bitches if you're watching this, but there are whiny bitches out there that are crying about the hobby. You're not priced out of the hobby. Maybe you're priced out of a jumbo box of 2023 Top Series 2. That's why I didn't buy any. But I'm not going to go on Twitter and bitch about it. Oh, it's $200. I don't care. I'm going to go buy a couple blasters, and I'm going to be happy about it. You're not priced out because guess what? In a few months, maybe you can't get it right now, but in a few months, if you want cards, if you want base cards, go to your freaking card shop. Go to your freaking card show. Go online. I mean, we are now connected. You don't have to have a local card shop or card show to get good deals. Go online, go to a Facebook group, go to blowout forums, go to Twitter, and you can buy a medium flat rate box for probably $40 for a bunch of commons, and hell, you might even get the rookies in there. I'm sorry you're not going to get your napkin patch that's guaranteed in the hobby box, but you're not priced out of the hobby. That's like my biggest, life is good when that's your biggest pet peeve. What's your biggest pet peeve? People crying about being priced out of the hobby. Guess what? Also, it's a hobby. We're not talking about water here. We're not talking about air. We're not talking about food, not like junk food, but like milk, bread, and eggs. We're talking hobby. It's a hobby. If you don't like it, get a new one. It's a hobby. We're not talking about air, water, and food. Okay. No more soapbox. So I don't care about Fanatics buying PWCC. Don't give a damn. Not going to hear about it here. If you want to hear that, go to somebody else's channel. They might talk about it, share their opinion. I honestly don't even have an opinion one way or the other. I saw that and I'm like, oh, that's literally, that was my reaction. I don't know if I saw it on Facebook first or Twitter first. Fanatics buying PWCC. Huh. And then I scrolled on to the next thing. I don't care. What else is going on? Added some stuff to eBay last night and yesterday. Football singles. Added some cheap autographs. I'm still listing autographs that I picked up 2 weeks ago in Dallas. Maybe that's been 3 weeks now. Still listing. Got most of them up now, but there's still a few. So you can check that out. My eBay store link is in the description to this video. So I just saw Max's comment, and I agree with you 100%. I don't agree that it's a bad take. People are crybabies about pricing. And you just confirmed with sentence. Heritage released at $130 last year. I don't even know what Heritage prices are this year, but Max says, I'm not priced out. I'm just not stupid. That's same here. Same here. Like, I could buy a $200 jumbo box of Topps, but I'm not going to. But when people go cry about it, that they're priced out of the hobby, that's my annoyance. I mean, am I annoyed that jumbo box is $200? Maybe slightly. Like, I thought it would be $150. I think that's what Series 1, but I don't care. It doesn't faze me. Like, and really Series 2 is, for some reason, I don't care about Topps Series 2. Here we go. We're talking about the topic already. 8 minutes in. How about that? Where was I at? What was I talking about? I took a drink of coffee and I forgot my train of thought. Series 2. I don't really like Series 2 has never done it for me. Like, I think I've never been a big flagship collector. Like, in fact, I didn't really start buying Series 1 until a couple years ago. I mean, I did back in the day, but here recently in the last 5 to 10 years, just didn't do much for me. But then I realized, shit, there's a really good market for Series 1 because everybody's dying for the new product. And, you know, this year, 2023, last year, 2022, people love it. So I buy it because it's flippable. It's an easy flip. By the time Series 2 comes out, it'll be an easy flip because there's not many, like my topic yesterday that I didn't really talk about. Where are all the baseball card releases? Heritage comes out tomorrow. Series 2 comes out in a couple weeks. Presale went on yesterday. But there's just not much product out there. Plus, there's some good rookies, Jordan Walker, Anthony Volpe. So those will be sought after at release. Okay, before I go off on other tangents, let's see what's going on in the chat. Shane Koopman's in the house. What's happening? Good morning to you. We've got Victor here. Harlan in the house. Terry Alexander, what's up? Brian Wolf, good morning. Ed is here. Good morning. David, good morning. Redbridge Sports Cards in the house. Red Light 34, what's happening? Hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone have experience trying to put an invoice together on multiple card order and not all cards will combine? I've never had that I am aware of. I don't send too many orders. There is a setting that I learned about when I first unearthed multiple transaction fees being hitting my account over a year ago. One of the chat bots, or not chat bots, but it was actual, well, it might have been a chat bot, told me about some setting within your policies where it automatically combines orders for a buyer and you don't have to send that invoice. I have no idea where that is. They walked me through it and I forgot. So I rarely send invoices. If I notice somebody bought like 6 cards and hasn't paid in a few days, I'll send an invoice. But I've never come across that issue where it doesn't include all cards. And I'm wondering if that could be one of those where the business policies are different, where you may have 3-day handling on one and 2-day handling on the other, or one's first class shipping, one's standard envelope. That might be what's hanging it up. I don't know. Donald Davis, good morning. Steve Haynes Comedy, good morning. Is it morning? Shane says, I have 6 cards that someone bought, and it will only allow me to combine 4 of the 6 into one invoice. So yeah, I'm wondering if were like 2 slabs and 4 singles, and 2 are first class, 4 are standard envelope. I'm not sure. Alex, good morning. Max says the Fanatics oligarchy. PWCC was garbage. Hopefully Fanatics will change the shill. Steve says, hey, I watched the movie Air yesterday while listing cards on eBay. It was a great movie. Agree. 100%. Loved it. Corbin Carroll SP. I don't know what that means, James. Let's see. Rich says in 1980, I wrote something like this for Baseball Hobby News about prices. Baseball cards are too expensive. Because back then in the 80s, what did our elders tell us? Well, back in my day, I could buy a pack of cards for a nickel. I would hear that at card shows into the 2000s. Back in my day, I could buy a pack of cards for a nickel. And now, guess what? We are the elders, and we're telling our kids, I don't have kids, but I'm telling your kids, and you're telling your kids, back in my day, I could buy a pack of cards for 50 cents. Ruined the hobby I love with your bullshit. Jeff Wilson. Ed says the people complaining about being priced out are the wannabe flippers. Collectors know how to shop for the best prices. Yeah, you don't hear, sometimes you hear collectors complain about the prices. But yeah, you're right. Because the margins aren't there. You can't go to Target anymore. There's not demand for blaster boxes. You can't just pull a $20 blaster off the shelf and put it on eBay for $50 anymore, which is a good thing. It was a good thing during the time. I enjoyed it for a time. But I also enjoy product being on the shelf because I like actually opening the blaster boxes more than flipping them. Although the flipping was kind of fun. Rich says collectors will have to be careful with the new companies joining the fray, and the sets may cost a combined $50. Geez, I would love those prices again. I know. Let's see. I wonder if I have. Oh. Sorry for the crotch shot. I thought I had. I've got to have I've got to have like an old card magazine around here somewhere. But I bet you pull out any magazine, especially when you get into the late 80s, early 90s. There was a lot of letters to the editor. Prices. Oh, it's crazy. 50 cents. 50 cents for a pack of cards. Paul Heath, what's happening? Good morning. Steve says, absolutely right about talking about priced out of the hobby. I've heard that since 1978. Scotty Dubs in the house. Shane says, this is my favorite opening to an episode since I have started watching. Thank you. Johnny Boy Cards, what's happening? Good morning. Brian says, Shaq rookie was $500 out of the gate. Now you can get one for $5. Wait, and the prices will come down. What have I been telling you about Matt Mervis? Don't buy him. And I'm not saying that as a Cubs collector. I'm selling all of my Matt Mervis. Matt Mervis, what's he doing? Matt Mervis. Let's take a look at old Matt Mervis's stats. Matt Mervis, everybody, oh, Eric Hosmer sucks. Well, sometimes the grass ain't always greener. Let's see where we go. We want to go to roster. I have a difficult time navigating the MLB app. Okay, Mervis. We want to go to stats. His stuff's come down. I mean, I'm glad I moved some of the stuff I did. I still have Mervis cards that, I just didn't move fast enough. He's hitting 208. Let's see stats. 208. He's slashing 208. 255, 292. That's his slash line. 18 strikeouts, 3 walks. Matt Mervis, 1 home run. So Rich says Heritage was $95 when I checked on Dave and Adams the other day. I think that's a good price. But now it's all relative. 5 years ago, I'm like, ooh, 95. I don't know. 75 is like that was my, 5-6 years ago, 75 for a Heritage or a flag. Actually, 75 for flagship was, that was like a $60 box 6-7 years ago. But everything rises in price. So sometimes you just have to ride the wave. But I think today, $95 is a good price for a hobby box of Heritage. Steve says it's about the hobby. It's all about the hobby, how we can talk about the hobby. Hobby. Rich says there's still $95 as of a minute ago. Joe says, I'm glad you haven't packed the soap box yet. There's still some soap left. And I checked with my LCS and they will have a good amount and promised me to save me a couple if the prices went out of hand in the next couple of days. Love it. I don't know if I'm going to buy any Heritage. I used to love Heritage. Now I like Archives better than Heritage now. And it used to be vice. In fact, it's gone in waves. When I first got back into the hobby, and I never really left the hobby, I took sabbaticals. But even when I took sabbaticals, I would still buy Cubs cards. I bought a Javier Baez first Chrome auto the summer of 2000, would have been when it first came out, 2011. I wasn't actively collecting, but I would still buy stuff every once in a while. So I never left, but I wasn't immersed. And I didn't know what new product. I would just be like, oh, I like the Cubs. Javier Baez was the first round pick. I think he's going to be good. I'm going to buy a card. That's kind of what my mentality was at that point in time. 2012 when was it? Yeah. So then 2012, when I worked in the athletics office, there were a couple guys that were into cards. And so hey, and I remember going to Walmart and oh, what's this Archives? It's got 1983 design. This is super cool. I loved Archives. Couldn't get enough of Archives. And then I loved Allen and Ginter. And then, by 2014, I was boom, fully into the hobby, collecting, buying collections, all that stuff. By 2016, I think it came out, it started getting to the years where I liked, not that I don't like the 50s and early 60s of baseball cards, but I was at the time more familiar with the late 60s. And so by like 2016, 17, so we're looking at the 67, 68 designs of tops. Like 2017, I was obsessed with Heritage, and like Art Archive sucks because I had a few years of it. Like, okay, it's all the same designs again. Okay, I'm good. But Heritage, loved Heritage. And now it's kind of like I loved Heritage, and now I thought like once it got into the 70s, by the way, Heritage releases tomorrow. Once it got into the 70s, I'm like, oh, I'm going to absolutely love Heritage, because 68, 67, 68, 69, I didn't really care for those designs. I don't like the 70 design. I don't like the 71 design, but by 72 through the rest of the decade, I love those designs. 72, 73, 74, 75, love those designs. Not a fan of 76, love 77, love 78, don't like 79. So it's kind of been the opposite. Now it's like, I'm kind of sick of, even though I love these designs, I love the 72 design, love the 73 design, this year's 74. But it's like, I think it's kind of wore off. There was huge demand for Heritage back in, I think it was 2017 with the 68 design. It was huge. You go to the blowout forums and it was like 110 pages. People were just like, it was the it thing. Now it's just not, the discussion's not there. In fact, you go to the blowout forums, it was. So the 2017 Heritage, on the forum, it was over 100 pages. Let's go to the blowout forums right now. And so it's the day before release, and I'm having a hard time even finding it. Okay, first buzz. It's the day before release, and it's only 7 pages long. So it's just not as hyped as it once was. Where we at? Here we are. Max says, so people can't talk about it. It's effing stupid. You can buy the $130 boxes now for $60 because they can give it away. $95 is still about 20 over what it should be. I think in today's financial climate, with the pricing of I think 95 is like, just comparing it to like everything else that has risen in prices, it's a trickle down effect. I think 95 is a fair price. Would I like it to be 60 or 80? Yes, but I understand why it's not. Let's see. Yeah, and it has come down, as Rich says, 2018, 2019, $130. And I think that was coming off cards. Like, we saw a big spike in prices in 2018, 2019. Many people forget. I'm glad Uncle Rich reminded us, because we saw a big spike in hobby prices in 2018. Aaron Judge, like it was a couple years before the pandemic hit when we saw wax increase significantly. You know, I saw my wholesale price, or slightly above wholesale price, of Bowman from 2017 go from $797 to like over $1,000 in 1 year. It's a big increase. And so 2018, 19, 20, and I think into 21, I didn't buy any hobby boxes of Bowman. And then I just sucked it up. It's like, okay, if I want it, I'm gonna buy it. But I didn't buy a case. You know, I bought a couple hobby boxes. That's it. Let's see. Steve says, I remember when Topps was the only game in town. I was reading a Vine Line magazine. So last night I decided I'm going to have some blue. I'd gone my end of the day post office run, and I swung by the house. My wife, Notorious MIL, and our designer were all at the house, like kind of laying out like what furniture we can put out on the patio and the deck and the porch and just different things. So hung out there, and on my way home, I'm like, I'm going to go grab some blue moons, because it was a nice 80-degree day yesterday. Like, it's a beautiful, warm day. I'm going to get a couple Blue Moons, sit on the patio, maybe grab a magazine and just like chill, right? So I did that. And I grabbed my Vine lines that somebody had sent me. Thank you. From 1988. And I'm reading through there, drinking my Blue Moon. And I don't like the orange. I don't put an orange in my, I don't like fruit with my beer, even though it's like brewed with orange peel. Like I always have to, if I order a Blue Moon at a restaurant, like no orange. I don't want your nasty orange peel on my glass. Anyway, reading through Vineline, 1988, and it there was a blurb about all of there's so many sets these days, and now Score is coming on. We added Sport Flicks in 1986, and Score is coming on. It's like, oh, just wait, Mr. Writer, just wait, just you wait. God is great. Good morning from the Rising Sun, Japan. Max says, Rich, those years didn't release at those prices, though. They were boosted by the content judge, etc. Flawed Thinker, good morning. Don't forget to Hulk smash or Wolverine slash or Shohei Ohtani strike the like button. I love it. Tiger727, I don't get too excited for new releases. I buy a top set every year. Cheaper than buying boxes trying to complete the set? Absolutely. I do buy update just to complete that set. TCDB also helps with set build. Yeah, there's so many ways to go about it. So many ways to go about it. Let's see. Brian Dean in the house. What's happening? Dan says, dang, lost track of time. What's up, Dan? Andy Mack in the house. Christian says, Top Series 2. Cannot wait to buy in August. Yeah. You're not priced out. Maybe you're priced out today, but you won't be priced out in 6 months. Pepino Man, what's up? I'm an old collector and try not to complain about it. Changed, but it can be tough. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I long for the days of buying T206 cards for $20. You know, it's like when I first started buying them again for my Cubs collection, because I had bought some back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, I was buying them for as low as $10. And now it's like, I actually find them cheaper at card. Believe this, I can find pre-war, a lot of the pre-war I can find less expensive at card shows than I can on eBay. So a lot of times that's why I buy at card shows. It's like, I can pay $100 for this here, or if it is on eBay, and sometimes I look, it's like 150. I bought the Turkey Red cabinet card. I paid like $200 for it at a show. But like the cheapest on eBay was like $350. And it's like, I'm going to take this all day. But yeah, it can be tough when I see a common T206 where it's $80 on eBay. It's like, man, I remember when this was a $15 card. Uncle Rich says, how about $1 for 89 Upper Deck packs? Yeah. I wasn't priced out of the hobby, but I was priced out of that particular product. And guess what? I didn't buy any. You know, it's almost like we have, and I say we collectively as a hobby, we have this sense of entitlement where if we want it, we should be able to have it. But it's like, I drive a Ford. Every once in a while, I see a Bentley and a couple Maseratis driving around. But I'm not crying that it's like, hey, well, I have a car. I'm not priced out of the car market. I just have to drive a Ford. I can't afford a Bentley. And I'm okay with that. Would I like to afford a Bentley? Yes. But I have come to the realization that I am not in the market to afford a Bentley or a Maserati. I'm a Ford guy. When I was 7 years old, I could not afford the 89 Upper Deck. I could afford tops. I don't feel entitled to a Bentley. I don't feel entitled to a case of Flawless. That's $20,000 or $40,000. Uncle Rich says, and now we've got our good audience numbers. We're at 68. George in the house, what's up? The grass is always greener over the septic tank. Max misses opening baseball cards. That's what the hobby is for me. $95 for Heritage is good. I think so. Has anyone actually opened it lately? It's a much worse open, 30% more expensive. Take the wool off. If you buy hobby box, I mean, don't buy blasters. Don't buy a $25 blaster because it's going to be garbage. Of Heritage, Bowman blast. I mean, Bowman buy retail. Heritage buy hobby. Let's see. I like the Heritage, but it coincides. If I like the year, they're going back to love the 72 version, but don't like the 73. All to me liking the original version. Yeah, and 74 is not. I mean, 74 is probably, and I've shared my thoughts on this. The 70s collectively is my favorite deck, and I'm not kissing John's ass on this. The 70s are collectively my favorite decade in baseball cards. And I'm trying to think of how I would, 72, 73, 75, 78 are my top four. Like they're my final four. But 74 is probably next. 74 is probably right there at number 5, right in the middle. So it's not high on my like list, but it's not toward the bottom either. Really, the only two designs I don't like of the 70s are 76 and 79. I just feel they're too much alike. That's my opinion. I know some people will say they're nothing alike, but that's my opinion. Let's see. Zach and Porter in the house. Buying singles is my sweet spot. Way to hobby. We use ripping as a special treat. Best way to maximize the budget is to buy what we want and what we can trade to others. Zach and Porter are like the definition of great hobbyists. On a budget, they understand their budget and they still have fun. That's what a hobby is. If your definition of a hobby is ripping wax and it's no longer affordable, it's no longer a hobby. If you're going to get upset over not being able to afford something and that's what you want, that's what you truly want, like, would I like a Bentley? Abso-freaking-lutely. Can I afford it? No. Am I upset? Of course, that's not a hobby. It could be if I was Jay Leno. I suffer with my Ford. But with cards, like, I love cards. And it doesn't matter who Fanatics buys. It doesn't matter how much they raise the price of sealed wax because there's always a secondary market. And I love ripping wax. Like Bowman, like I was priced out of the Bowman hobby box since 2018. At that time, I mean, now in hindsight, I would love a $1,000 case of Bowman. But at that time, I went from less than $800 for a case to over $1,000. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. But today, I look back, I'm going to love it. I would love it. But it's gone. Those days are gone. And you find, if you really want to enjoy that portion, you find a way to make it work, or you just find a new hobby or find a new lane within the hobby. Fortunately, we have retail in Bowman, and it provides a good rip. I would say there's some products where blaster boxes are just garbage, namely Flagship. I mean, if you're looking for hits, Flagship is a terrible retail buy. If you just want the cards, the base cards, it's a great buy. Allen and Ginter, terrible buy in blaster form. Heritage, terrible buy in blaster form. Bowman, awesome. Peeps in the house. Where's Peeps at? Where we at? Let's see. Peep says Heritage has always been tough, which makes the SPs and parallels better, in my opinion. I agree with that. The SPs, I loved it. And I think it seemed like half of the Heritage buyers and collectors loved when SPs were superstars and half hated it. I loved it because if it's Stephen Piscotty, a short print of Stephen Piscotty is going to be $2 to $3, but a short print of Mike Trout is going to be like 10 to 15. So I loved it when it was like stars and rookies as the there was only 1 year, and maybe more people hated it than liked it because they did away with that after just 1 year of loading up the short print checklist. Max opens. I opened 2+ cases a year of Heritage since 2014. Haven't opened any since 2021. Killed Chrome, tougher SPs by overproducing. Steve Ains Comedy says what Bo doesn't like the 79 design. That would be number 10 on my list. I think 79 would be number 10 on my least favorite sets of the 1970s. And I probably, I don't know why. I don't know. 76 and 79 basically are the same for me, but for whatever reason, I'm going to give the edge to 76. Shane says, well, I guess I will just send an invoice for the 4 cards, include price for 2 missing cards and shipping, and just add tracking number to them. All I can figure out. Max says people still go on Blowout. I used to spend multiple hours a day there. Now maybe look once a week. I'm on there every day. There's some good stuff. There's a lot. You have to sift through the garbage a lot, but there's some good stuff on there. James says a lot of people collect those high number SPs in Heritage. Yeah, they tend to move pretty well. I price them typically at like $2.50 free shipping in my eBay store, and they move pretty well. The older Heritage, once you get back, I price those at like $5 because they're, not as common on eBay. A little harder to find. Stuke is in the house. Awesome meeting you, Rich Klein in Dallas. Just wish there was more time to visit. Thanks for the info on the Cal Ripken uncut sheet. Mark Marinello is here. Dan in the house. Good morning. He says, hit that like button. I agree. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Ken in the house. My LCS just sold a box of National Treasures for $19,000. So 95 sounds super cheap. Yeah. Yep. $20K. Zach and Porter says the cost of cards shot up dramatically when Bo cornered the Javi Baez Topps living market. The hobby saw dollar signs and the price of the brick went up. And that was pre-pandemic when I was foolishly spending money on 9 copies of the Topps Living Javier Baez card. What was I thinking? There's few things that I regret within the hobby and buying. I mean, I could probably, as I think about it, I'm sure I could figure out a lot more. But probably number 1 on the list was buying 9 copies of the Topps Living Javier Baez. And people why do you want 9? Because remember, this was like early in the Deeps project, and I was still just kind of foolishly buying cards. It's like, well, 9 fills a page. Why? Because I think even in bulk, I was paying like $5 a pop for them. So, I could have paid like 10 for 1 copy and not spent $45 and had $35 for other stuff, other Cubs cards. But to this day, I have 9 copies of the Javier Baez Topps Living card. I also bought an artist proof from Project 2020 of Javi. That was like $170. What the frick was I thinking? That was a dumb move. Mark Marinello. I remember when the new Fleer and Donruss came out in 1981. The neighborhood kids were skeptical. We all thought Topps was still the one, but Donruss had the best gum. There's a newspaper article. I think I'm sure it was from 1981. Maybe it was 1982. It was actually in my local newspaper because I subscribe to newspapers.com because I'm a nerd. 1 million. Let's see. I think It was in damn it. Now I got to remember my password. Okay. Is that the right one? Oh, I think so. Let's type in Donruss, and I think let's go 1981, 1982. Illinois. It was in the Moline Dispatch. Oh, this one might be the top one right here. No. So it was a little league. Okay, so I want to search by newspaper. That's crazy. Donruss, between 1982, there were only 2 mentions of Donruss in the Chicago Tribune, but 15 in the Moline Dispatch. It had to have been 81 or 82. Huh, maybe not, because it was like a little league. Let's stretch it out to 83 and see. That wasn't it. Okay. Oh, okay. Can't find it. But anyway, it was the newspaper went out to Little League. This would have been like 81 or 82, talking about I'm sure it was 81 because I think Donruss and Fleer had just come on, talking about the gum. And I think Donruss, I think most of the kids were saying Donruss has the best gum. Oh, man, I really want to find this. Maybe it was in the Argus. I bet it was in the Rock Island Argus. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. I bet it was the Argus, not the Dispatch. Or maybe it was the Quad City Times. Well, that would have to be Iowa. Well, son of a... Now I got to delete those. Go to Iowa. Quad City. I bet it was Quad City Times. 37 mentions of the word Donruss between 19. Let's just go 1981. This is just riveting content. Okay, it's just not meant to be. Can't find it there either. Donruss had so much better gum that year. I'm running out of coffee, but I forgot I have my backup. John says so much room for activity. How's the coffee? We're 42 minutes in, so the coffee should be still pretty hot. Tiger says fruit in some beer is okay. A few maraschino cherries and a little of the juice in a Sam Adams cherry wheat is the best. I'm not a big cherry like I love cherry pie. That's what she said. But I'm not a big like cherry. Well, I love cherry Starburst is the best. Okay, maybe I do like cherry flavor. I don't know if I would like cherry beer though. Let's see. Max says you've been living in the Madison area for too long. Let's see. Going on. It's funny because Madison is about the exact opposite of the areas I grew up in. Funny how that works. Zach and Border says it isn't a hobby problem. It's a society problem. Too many people think they need things and buy it with money they don't have. Zach, well said. Exactly. Nailed it. Andy Mack started collecting records when I was 18 in 1998. I could find Beatles, Zeppelin, etc. for $1 at Goodwill. Those were the good old days. Now those are $40 plus. So I just don't buy as much now. Absolutely. Red Light says, hit that like button. Thank you, Red Light. Bargain Boxer in the house. Fanatics just bought out PWCC. Is there anything left that Fanatics hasn't bought? Has Fanatics bought out PSA yet? No. Yeah, I don't know. There's more to come. I mean, they're gonna buy others, and I'm gonna fondle my baseball cards because I don't give a shit what they buy. They can buy it all and become a monopoly, and I don't care. Cooter says the most commonly owned vehicle by people with a net worth greater than $1 million has historically been the Ford F-150. So don't judge a book by its automaker. Yeah, and a lot of millionaires drive. I think what's the other, like a Toyota Camry is a big big one by millionaires. Let's see. U.S. Sports Cards Dan says, have you flipping through bargain boxes at card shows replacing the joy I used to have opening packs? It is free, Tennessee, all the different cards, and then you just buy what you like. Mark says, when I was in grade school, I used my lunch money my mom gave me to buy 8 wax packs while walking to school in the morning, mooch off my buddies for lunch until mom put a stop to it. That's awesome. Max says, yes, Heritage Hobby is still a bad open. I've been one of the heavier Heritage collectors on Blowout for years. It's gotten to be horrible. Red Light says, if you can't afford it, get a second job. Yes, there you go. Shoot, I skipped too far ahead. Where are we at? When I moved to Lower Michigan years ago, I learned the term house poor. Very nice house, but little to no furniture inside. Saw it a few times. Crazy. Milk crates for chairs. Victor says, agree, and do not use credit cards to buy boxes. Absolutely. Although I put all of my boxes on credit card, but I pay them off. Get those points. Max says, your comparisons are garbage here. You could afford a Ford 5 years ago and still can today. And I couldn't afford a Bentley 5 years ago, and I still can't today. You sell or trade your duplicates to support your hobby. But here's the thing, Max. I'm going to go back to Max's comment. Here's the thing. I could afford Topps 5 years ago, Topps Heritage 5 years ago, and I can still afford it today. It's not like it hasn't gone out of affordability. It's gone from what was a box of Heritage 5 years ago. I can go look at Blowout because I was buying them 5 years ago. Probably what, $80 for a hobby box? I gotta log in now. I gotta remember another password. Let's see. I remember my email address. Now I gotta remember the password. Might take me a couple times. Hopefully not as long as finding the bubblegum article in the. Oh, here we go. Got it. First try. Is it going to go back as far as it should? I think it has your historical. So let's see. 2018. Oh, page 2. What the hell is this? Let's see. Gosh, did I even buy it on Blowout? I don't see anything there. June of 2017. What would that have been? Oh, maybe that was Heritage. What is all of these pop? Oh, that's Ginter. I keep getting a change password on every time I freaking click. Let's see. 2016. That was not it. Damn it. Maybe I ordered it off of. I'm sure I would have ordered it off of Blowout. That does not, unless I just bought a couple boxes. 2016. Nope, that's Bowman. 2016 retail Bowman hobby boxes, $68. Would it have been? I guess we'll try 19. But I'm guessing it was like $80. 2019. No. Huh. I must have bought it from Dave and Adams or Steel City or something. But like $75, $80 to $95, it's not like. In fact, I bet percentage-wise, a new Ford has gone up far greater than the percentage of a hobby box of Topps Heritage. Steve says you sell or trade your duplicates to support your hobby. Absolutely. Zach says, hey, Piscotti just signed a minor league deal with the Sox. Interesting. I did not know that. I thought he was still playing in the big leagues. Card Hobbyist says, I enjoy ripping. The entertainment value is what you were paying for. The thrill of unknown, the gambling, the thrill of the unknown possibility. If you were upset after a rip because you didn't break even, then ripping is not for you. Agree. There's definitely an entertainment value that you have to price in when opening wax. And remember, it is a gamble. Since this is the last Tuesday of the school year, this is the last week for a while. I will be a trash overachiever. Today's trash only day for me, or tonight when I take it out to the curb. John agrees. 1979 Topps blows. Rich says, and I'm a failure of that. Sure enough, the people across me already had their trash out in the alleyway. Rich loves 1979. He says, great photos. John says, 1976 Topps is a top 5 set of the 70s. I can educate on that sometime. I would be interested in hearing your reasoning behind that. I find it, I don't know. I don't know. Let me look at some 76 Topps. I've got some right here. Okay, let's look at Ollie Brown. You know what? 76, okay, I can see it. 79 does blow though. Like, look at Ollie Brown. Or you got Buddy Bradford of the Cardinals. That's just a great name. Look at that. Okay, I can appreciate Mickey Scott of the Angels. You know what? 76. Yeah. Maybe I've been too harsh on old 76 Topps. Mike Hegan, I like this. I like this photo with the baseball in the glove. That's a pretty cool photo. All right, John. It's not too often I change my opinion on something, but I can respect a 76 Topps. Oh, look at this. We got some stars. Tom Seaver, victory leaders. Okay. I'll have to go through and look, and maybe I'll have to amend my rankings. Let's see. Where are we at? Rich says, I think 77 is very underrated in terms of the 70 sets. I agree. I love 77. Rookie cards automatically move the set to the worst of the decade. That's probably why, because 76, the biggest rookie is Dennis Eckersley. 79, Ozzie Smith. And outside of those two, am I missing one on 79? I think 76 is basically Eckersley, and that's it. 79, Ozzie Smith, and I might be missing somebody. But you're right. 1988 is like the most hated, the least liked of probably any top set ever created in the rookie. It's the rookie class, is terrible. Tom Glavine, that's it. 76, brilliant due to the colors and the old timers. Tiger 727 says 77 is great, but I'm biased as I was born that year. So I don't have that birth year bias. I was born in 1982, and 82 Topps doesn't do it for me. 77 is ninth best in my opinion. Too much white, too much airbrushing, and no Dave Collins. My favorite airbrushing, though, is 78, Greg Minton. That's the greatest airbrush. Tiger 727, 76 Topps has grown on me. Was not a fan, but the more I see it, the more I like it. I think that's kind of where I'm at. Like, as I grab that small pile, okay, I can appreciate this. Dan asks a good question. Do you care about Javi anymore? I do, but it's more of my fandom for Javi now is more nostalgia based, because I remember what he did and how fun he was with the Cubs, and not what have you done for me lately? Because although he is starting to turn the corner, he had a really rough start again, but he really turned it around, had a nice stretch a couple weeks ago. So I'm not sure where his numbers are now, but am I actively collecting his cards? No, but I probably should be, especially his Cubs stuff, because I don't care about his Tigers stuff or his Mets stuff, but he's been pretty sucky. I could probably get his stuff at a really low price. So now that you mention it, maybe I'll go shopping for some Javi. Let's see. Red Light says, I'm buying 9 of every Johnny Bench card. Love it. That dude from Duryea. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Is it Duryea? Curious if they stopped making stars, the short prints to get the stars in hand easier and increase popularity with more people. That's one thing, because they really tinkered with it. Because they did put star that one year. It was like the short print checklist was loaded with stars. Now, as me being a flipper, ripping and flipping, I loved it. because it gave more value because while yes, you pull more Mike Trout base cards not being short printed, but they're $1.50 cards if they're a base card. Maybe you pull, buy a few blasters, you pull 2 Mike Trout base cards, not short printed, $1.50 a piece. But if you pulled a short print, you're at $10. So I liked it as a flipper, but I understand for collectors building the sets, I understand, yeah, it's going to be a lot more expensive. And it might be cheaper buying blaster boxes or a hobby box or 2 than trying to buy them on the secondary market as singles because they're going to be higher priced. Zach says there were 10 years of cards in the 70s. The following year started the 80s. Thank you, Zach. He says 76 tops is great. Ken says, speaking of 77, I'm looking for Dale Murphy rookie cards. Anyone? John says, my oldest Donruss cards are the 1961 Idiot cards. My favorite Donruss set, 78 Donruss Kiss. Brian says, skip too far ahead. Brian says, where does Brian say? Brian says, I suck at ripping wax, so I scour auctions for deals. I have 20 autographed Steve Sachs rookies at the post office inscribed 1982 NL Rookie of the Year waiting for me to pick up. That's pretty cool. John says, judging by my experience, it's Porter who is typing the profound words here. I would have to agree with that. Brian says, show me the money. Fanatics buying card dealer pro. Kyle, good morning. Victor, the rookie card specialist in the house. John is running on all cylinders this morning. Fanatics buying CDP. That's how rumors get started. That is not true, by the way. That is not true. Mark Hoyle, good morning. Call me crazy, but I love the 79 set, except for the black and white rookies. Yeah, those suck. My favorite 70 sets, 74, 76, 77. I think mine would be 72, 75, 78. I love 78 because it was like that for me. 78, it's more about like nostalgia for me because that was the first like vintage. I mean, it was vintage to me because it was before I was born that I saw as a kid. I'm like, oh my God, it's such an old card. And when I say it was like 10 years old, the 78 cards were like, and now like, look, isn't that crazy how time like has that weird effect on us as we grow, as we age? Like I thought 1978 tops was, oh my God, it's so old. And it was 10 years. It was like 1988 or 89, 10, 11 years old. And now today that's like 2013 tops. That's like, and that's why vintage should be a moving, no matter what, baseball cards, antique, whatever. Because to me in 1989, a 1978 tops card was old and vintage. That's like a 7-year-old today holding a Mike Trout. Oh my God, this is 12 years old. It's so old and vintage. Like, isn't that crazy to think about? Let's see. Rich has got to get his day started. Thank you for the wonderful content. We will continue to have fun with our cards no matter what 2023 Tops and its brands does. Exactly. I'm still going to fondle my cards and I'm going to like it. Max says, whatever your definitions are, fine. Let me phrase it differently. I can afford to buy the product, but I won't because it has become too expensive for the content inside. Same thing to me, I guess. Yeah, we agree. We are on the same page. I can afford the product, but I choose not to buy it because I don't feel some products, I don't feel it's worth spending. Now, I didn't buy any Bowman hobby boxes. But sometimes I'll spend $250 on a Bowman hobby. I probably spent $300 on a Bowman hobby box a year or two ago. But it's kind of like with the Bowman mega box is a better example. When they were $15, I would clear the shelves. And I'd rip it all. I didn't save any for the kids. And then they went up to $30 and I'll buy it all. Now it's $45 and I don't see the value there. Is it worth picking up a few boxes? Sure, absolutely. And I think last year I bought 6 at $45. Gone are the days where I'd buy 40. In fact, what year was it? In 2021, I bought like 60 or 70 mega boxes of Bowman. And then they jacked the prices up to $45. Can I still afford it? Sure. Am I going to buy what I used to buy? No. Am I still going to pick up a few? Yeah. Thank you, Uncle Rich. Have a good one. John says, sorry, I was saying the 79 black-white rookies make that set the worst of the decade. Okay. So that's what makes it the worst. Okay. Where are we at? Kyle says, I was hatched in 79, not really drawn to any 79 cards. Greg Minton wasn't airbrushed. He actually looks like a cadaver. Steve Ains comedy with the hottest take of the week. It's only Tuesday, though. 1987 is the worst year? Hopefully you're just talking about, like, generally speaking in the world. 1987 was bad. Frankly, you cannot be speaking of 87 tops. Love 87 tops. I think, again, my love for 87 tops is probably more out of nostalgia, although I am attracted to the wood grain borders. Not as much the 62s. Don't really care for those. But again, it's probably more nostalgia driven. Andy Max says, I'm so glad you said airbrushed. It drives me crazy when someone says the late 70s Topps cards are photoshopped, right? Let's see. Mark Marinello, I could wallpaper my house with late 70s and early 80s cards I bought as a kid. Duryea pronounced perfect. Awesome. I really don't have any cards from my childhood. I don't think I probably have. I mean, maybe a Cub card that I found in my mom's closet, in my closet growing up. It's like, oh, this is a Cubs card. It's going in my collection. But I grew up in the junk wax era, so none of my cards were worth anything. And I didn't collect. I collected all the new stuff. I didn't want old. And that's, now you think about, how do we get kids to like vintage? And it's just not something that most kids. Now, Porter's an exception. Porter loves vintage and retired players and that. I wasn't one of those kids. I wanted the new stuff. I wanted the latest hot shiny thing. And I think that's a lot of kids these days, kids all the time. Kids in my day, kids these days, kids in my day, probably kids preceding, wanted the new stuff. And I think actually, and Uncle Rich, I believe, has left, but I think Dr. Beckett mentioned this in one of his podcasts, probably with Uncle Rich, about like when he was a kid and Topps was released in series, and it's like, oh, that's an old series. We don't want those. Kids wanted the new stuff, the latest. So the latest when I was a kid was 90 Topps, 91 Donruss, 91 Fleer. So it was garbage. There may be a few cards remaining in a tub somewhere in my house, but they're not going to be any decent cards. And then I didn't start buying like good stuff until eBay came around, and I was in high school and I was buying stuff on eBay. John says Fanatics buying Bud Light. Hey, now that's a combination I can get behind. Let's see. Playing catch up. John is right. Had I wrote what have said something more profound, like some people want a Maxim subscription, but they can only afford FHM. The poor man's Maxim. 78 is about as interesting as Jeff Wilson's wardrobe. Second time I heard the word fondle on this stream. Sex bots must be on strike. They used to call it tickling at CCD. Comment of the day right there. 87 is top 10 for sure. Yes, I am, says Steve. 1987 Topps is worst year. Steve, what is wrong with you? But Dan's got Steve's back. Dan says 87 Topps design is all sentiment. It's a garbage design. Only 86 Topps and 88 Topps are worse. So I wonder, what are feelings collectively as a hobby? What would our feelings be on 88 Topps, if 88 Topps was the 87 design, vice versa. What if 88 Topps, what if the Bo Jackson Future Stars card was in the 88 design and Barry Bonds 87 Topps was in the 88 design, McGuire, all that? And what if the Tom Glavine was in the 87 wood grain and all of the Sam Horn and all of the garbage 88 cards were in the 87 design? How would we look at 88 Topps if it were the 87 design as opposed to the 88 design? Because I think a lot of and I'm guilty myself, and I find myself like, oh, I hate that set, I love this set. And when I look down, it's like my favorite sets and my least favorite sets. Guess what? My favorite sets have a higher value, a better rookie class. My least favorite sets tend to have the shitty rookie class. Ironically, Topps Heritage was probably my gateway to vintage. Interesting. Wait, there are people that actually don't like the wood grain from 87, apparently. Joseph Robinson, what's up? Thank you. Mark Marinello, while visiting my mom's house, discovered a beat-up 1976 Lubrock hidden behind the water tank in the basement. Must have put it there when I was 8. That's awesome. John says 87 was the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning. Max says I'm talking strictly design, not set value. John says, which is uglier, the front or the back of 87 Topps? Well, let's see. Do I have an 87 Topps over here? Oh, there's a Donruss handy. I do. Let's because he later became a Cub. Let's pull out Andre Dawson. Look at this beautiful card. Wood grain, red, white, and blue Expos. Awesome logo. Great player. What a card, man. This is beautiful on the front. Upside down. Okay, the back. Yeah, the back. There's not much going on the back. Whoever was like writing the sentences on the backs of cards in the mid-'80s, they were great. Andre derives enjoyment from deep sea fishing. So when I say that, it reminds me of 86 Topps, the team leaders cards on the back of 86 Topps. I don't think I have any handy, but I'm going to go to TCDB. Oh, man. If I can find, I don't know. Did I search 1986 on 1986 Topps? I'm getting, so it's something with Chrome. I keep getting password because okay, 1986. There we go. 1986 Topps. We need a team leader. So on the back of the team leader cards, oh, these pop-ups are killing me. Tigers team leader. Here we go. Okay, and there's a picture in the back. Perfect. So my friend Charlie and I, we absolutely loved the back of the 86 Topps team leaders, and we would say it goofy. So basically it says, so this is a Tigers team leader card. Must be Lance Parrish. Depicted on front, Lance Parrish, Dean of the Tigers, continuous service since September 1st, 1977. So we would like say it in goofy voices. Depicted on front, Lance Parrish, Dean of the Tigers, continuous service since September 1st, 1977. So that's why when I read this, Andre derives enjoyment from deep sea fishing. Like, that's funny. That reminds me of the team leader talking on the back of the 86 Topps team leader cards. Where are we at? Let's see. Max says 88 had no effort design-wise, much like the second half of the 70s. Card Hobbyist says, what if 89 Topps had a Griffey rookie or 90 Donruss had a Frank Thomas? They would be considered better sets. Rookie class matters. Yeah, I think so. But, 89 Donruss is considered like, oh, we love 80. There's a lot of haters on 89 Donruss. But like 90 score has a Frank Thomas, and the 90 score Frank Thomas is awesome. 90 tops. I think 90 tops. I like 89 tops better than 90 tops. And 90 tops has Frank Thomas rookie, and 89 tops doesn't have a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie. I think that's driven by nostalgia because 89 was my first year like buying packs like by myself and building sets. So I think for me, it's nostalgia driven on 89. I was building sets in 90 and I was even harder core. I was even more hardcore in 90 than I was in 89. But I like the 89 top set much better than 90. Let's see. I thought 86 always sucked personally. I think for me, the 80s, there's a lot of nostalgia with some of those crappy sets in the mid 80s, like 86 and 88. I don't know. I would say I love 83, but again, there's a Sandberg rookie. Is it? Do I like 83 because I like the design with the little circular headshot, or do I like it because it's got Sandberg and Gwynn and Boggs, Gwynn, and Sandberg in 83? Let's see. Max says 87 and 75 are the best of their decades, hands down. I definitely would have that. I don't know if I like, in my own opinion, I might like 83 better than 87. I think I like 83 better than 87. In the 70s, 75 is definitely up there. 75 might be my favorite of the 70s. 72's up there. Those would probably be my 83 and 87 would be my two favorites of the 80s, and 75 and 72 of the 70s. Card Hobbyist says 83 tops, my favorite of the 80s tops designs. Jody Wilner says Donruss baseball is also coming out in the next 2 weeks. Do you think they are worth buying? No. Ooh. Hopefully that coffee helps. I hate that. You get a little. I do not think Donruss is worth buying. Oh, man. I've got that like something catching in my throat. My eyes are, oh, look at my eyes. My eyes are watering. I can't talk. Okay, 80 tops, the best of the decade, in my uneducated opinion. Is Ricky not the card of the decade? Of the 80s? I would say no. If we're talking tops, I don't know, maybe. Here's this might be a hot take. I think the 84 tops Don Mattingly might be the card of the decade of the 80s. I'm trying to think of what else. 80 would definitely be the tops Ricky Henderson. 81 pass. Is there a card of 81 that you could consider? Like, I don't think there's a card in 81 that would be 82 Cal Ripken Jr. 83 bias here, but I'm going to say 83 tops Sandberg. 84 Mattingly. Donruss. I mean, I guess Donruss the 84 Donruss could be. And of course, you got the Fleer update in 84. 85 McGuire, Team USA. 86. What do you got in 86? Who were some rated rookies in 86? I don't know. 87, of course, you've got the Bo Jackson. 88. 89 Donruss. Rated rookie Ken Griffey Jr. 89 Upper Deck. I guess now that Ken Griffey Jr. 89 Upper Deck, probably the card of the 80s. Forgot about 89 being in the decade of the 80s. So yeah, I would put 89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. at the top, 84 Topps or Donruss Don Mattingly ahead of Ricky Henderson. Tracy, good morning. John says 1980 has it all. Mark says 81 is the dark horse of the decade. I do like the 81 Topps design. 86 Bonilla Topps traded is the card of the decade. John, get back in your decade. Yes. Love that card, even though he's in a White Sox uni. Tracy says late, but I love both 77 through 79, 77, 79 sets, working on building all three of them, 77 through 79. I don't think rookie class matters when there's multiple rookies each year, even in the 80s. Max says design versus set is a completely different conversation. Which are we discussing here? I think it gets mixed. I think when discussing design versus set, it gets interweaved, tangled up. Because I think a lot of times when people talk about the best set, or the best design, they like the design because of the set. It's hard to it's really hard to differentiate your favorite sets. What's the best design? Because we automatically go to what's the best in terms of rookie class, value, etc. It's really hard to differentiate that. Rick Hawkins, what's up? He says 87 Donruss was my favorite as a kid. Andy Mack says hate 87 Topps, a kid who could only afford 87 Fleer. Bargain Boxer Randy says 75 is my all-time favorite. DJ Scorpio in the house. What year was the iconic bow card with the football pads? That was 90 Score. 1990 Score. I love the 90 Score set. You had Frank Thomas, number 1 draft pick card. You had Earl Cunningham, number 1 draft card. You had Bo Jackson in the shoulder pads. Zach and Porter says 83 is a beauty. M. Cook in the house. Love the 90 Topps design. It's Saved by the Bell TV show looking. Yes, the early 90s had it all. Dan says 83 or 84 are the best of the 80s. Bo gets emotional when we talk 80s design. That's passion. I judge sets by how many of my favorite players are in the sets. 90 to 93 is our sweet spot. Pudge, Fisk, Frank, and Bo. 92, 93 are the money years, all with the Sox. Let's see. Where are we at? The Sox had, who else was in there? Albert Bell. That might have been after 93. That might have been like 95. Tim Raines was with the White Sox. Max says 87 best design, 83 best set, 80 Ricky best card. John says 84 Topps Mattingly isn't even the best Mattingly card of 1984. You dope. I remember walking to the drugstore as a kid, and 84 Topps was the first pack I ever bought and opened. Loved the look. Fernando was huge. Fernando Mania. Yes. 85 McGuire. Who were some rated rookies in 1986? Cancel this clown now. Who did I miss in 86? Who did I miss in 86 as a rated rookie? Was Bo Jackson a rated rookie in 86? I think he was. Let's see. I liked 81 Topps as my LCS had 81 packs in 88, and I could get Yaz and McCovey cards in those packs. John says 89 Upper Deck Griff, 84 Donruss Mattingly, 80 Topps Ricky, 89 Fleer Billy Ripken. The Mount Rushmore of 80s cards. Don't disagree. 80 Topps Ricky doesn't do it for me. And I love Ricky Henderson. I've said I think he's one of the greatest players of all time. On the short list for sure. Canseco 80. Oh, yeah. I'm an idiot. I might put 86 Canseco rated rookie ahead of the 80 Topps Ricky Henderson. I am an idiot. 86 Donruss. Let's see. Thought we were just talking Topps. That changes everything. I'm just kind of going all over the board here. Traded sets shouldn't count. That means you got it wrong the first time. Design can be intertwined in sets, but not vice versa. Set content and design both matter. 2011 and 2018 are beloved sets because of the rookie class, but 2013 is best design of that decade. I I think my favorite set of the 2010s is 2015. That might be a little biased because that's Chris Bryant's rookie year, but I really like the 2015 top set design. Do I have a 2013 handy? Because now we're getting into the years where it's like, I don't even remember what those look like. Do I have just a base? Here's a gold. I don't know. 2013. This is 2013. Not doing it for me. This is actually, you know what? This is like the modern version of 78. But I love 78. It's more nostalgia driven for me why I love 78. This is 2013. Not doing it for me. What was the other one that you mentioned? 2018? Okay, I've got to put these back in their proper places before I lose track. Okay, 2018. 2018. Here's 2018. I like 2018 a lot better than 2013, but I think I also like 2018 because of that rookie, like that rookie class of 2018 is absolutely loaded. Let's see. In 2011, it's boring. Design-wise. Let's see. 86 Donruss McGriff was a rated rookie, but he wasn't as big as the rest. Doc Gooden, Mr. Strawberry, those were big cards. Let's see. People alive in the 80s treat Mattingly like a Hall of Famer. Why? Mattingly was you had to be there. He was if it weren't for injuries, Mattingly would be a Hall of Famer. He only played 10 seasons? But he was one of the best baseball players in the 80s. And Don Mattingly really was the reason rookie cards became a huge thing in the 1980s. Mattingly was huge. You had to be there. It's kind of like Bo Jackson. A lot of people today don't appreciate what Bo Jackson did because they weren't around when he was doing his thing in the late 80s into the early 90s. Rick says McGuire, Gwynn, Clemens, Puckett, Strawberry. Tiger says, almost choked again. It was recently brought to my attention that the 2013 logo is a baseball diamond. Never noticed that before. Let's see. Zach says people alive in 2020 treated Jason Dominguez as a Hall of Famer. Same reason, Yankee. At least Mattingly did something at that point. Eric Davis was another guy. Why? I mean, Eric Davis, Bobby Bonilla. Like if you would have asked me in 1989, 1990, Don Mattingly, Eric Davis, Bobby Bonilla, first ballot Hall of Famers. Unfortunately, they, didn't have long careers. They packed a Hall of Fame career into a few seasons. Kyle says Eric Davis and Donnie Baseball were huge if you were a kid collecting in the mid to late 80s. Had to be. Yeah, you had to be there. You just had to be there. Same reason people love Dale Murphy. Yeah. Jay, what's happening? Good morning to you. Mark says, I caught a card shop owner resealing 1984 Topps wax packs after pulling the Strawberry and Mattingly cards. They were a big deal. Those were huge, huge. John says, I think you guys need to look at these sets with a long lens. Mattingly was no more a thing than Fernando. The whole country went crazy for Fernando. Not so for Mattingly, Canseco, etc. Oh, Canseco was huge. So I didn't buy any Topps yesterday. The pre-sale went up. Jumbo boxes sold out in like no time at $200 a pop. I'm not a buyer at that price point. If it would have been, really, to be honest with you, even at 150, I probably would have passed. Like I said, Series 2 just doesn't do it for me. So I'll probably pick up a few blasters. I'll go to Target or Walmart, pick up a few blasters. I don't even know when it's released, 2 or 3 weeks away. I like the checklist. It's got some good rookies in it. Series 2, 2023 Topps. It's got some new Dansby Swanson in a Cubs uniform. Javier Assad rookie card. Who's the other Cub rookie card? There's two rookies, Assad and Hayden Wisniewski. So looking forward to the Cubs checklist in Series 2. Anthony, what's up? Speaking of Bonilla, tell me a better outfield than Bonilla, Andy Van Slyke, and Barry Bonds. I know, man. Going up against those Pirates teams, as a Cubs fan, that was brutal. So I've got to go blow my nose, eat some breakfast, and ship some cards, man. So thanks for tuning. We had a great discussion today. We didn't have to talk about Fanatics buying PWCC. Go to another channel to hear that. Not going to talk about it here because I don't give a damn. So thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. Check out the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. Good discussion going on over there. My eBay link is in the description to the video. Buy 7 or more cards. Get 25% off at checkout. Have a great Tuesday. If tomorrow's your trash day, don't forget to take your trash can to the curb tonight. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.